Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick.
I'm Kevin.
And the news has returned.
The news has returned, and that makes me happy because for a couple of weeks it was, I'd get to like Thursday or Friday and be like, there's got to be something more here. we need to find stuff to talk about. But, the holidays are over and people are coming back into, hey, we're working on a thing and we're getting close. And we are now within 1 month of Mighty Number 9's release.
Yes, we are.
And that makes me happy.
Which everyone remember, it is coming out on Wii U as well. Because you have a Wii U and Vita, yeah. We were just discussing the lack of Wii U games, where it's hard to even remember what's coming out on them because they're not advertising.
There's Star Fox.
That's all the Nintendo.
That's not hard.
Yeah.
I can remember that.
Mighty Number 9's coming to it as well, but I think pretty much everybody who has a Wii U has another system. So this is coming to another system. That's what's kind of unfortunate about that. As much as great as the Wii U is as a system, chances are people are going to pick it up on their PS Vita and the PS4 and everything.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping, because they sent us out a survey on that, and they asked, where do you want to play this? And I think that's my official response, and I said Vita.
Okay.
But, there's a possibility that they'll be like, all right, then you get it on Vita. If you want it on PS4, it'll be whatever. I've seen that, 2 or 3 times, and it's always kind of, come on, guys.
Yeah.
This is the ecosystem that you're into, and this is something that Sony offers.
Sony, if you buy it on Vita, you should get it cross-platform. Yeah, that's what Sony offers,
and cross-save. Because I want to be able to watch cinematics, because I think the cinematics will be cool. Oh, yeah. Because we have Spike from Cowboy Bebop. He's one of the bosses. Yes, and I want to see his parts.
There's gonna be really cool stuff. I'm excited about this game. And I wish I had kickstarted it. I didn't, but I wish I had now. But I'll get it anyways.
I'm kind of in the reverse. I would they promised me there's a thing, and I was like, yes, that thing. And now it seems like that what they were talking about, the way that they were discussing it, was not necessarily how they saw the game. Yeah. And so it's not as bad as 15's. Yes. Do you want Moogles?
The 13 versus 15, yeah.
Yeah, but it does look like they're aiming for a different audience than I think the people who kickstarted it, because they're like, well, obviously those people are going to get it. The type of people that enjoyed Mega Man, which, and I agree with Colin on this one, it's not Mega Man, because the score chasing and the dashing through and the aggressive style. That's a different thing.
And what we thought we were going to get was another Mega Man. We thought we were going to get a spiritual, not another Mega Man, but almost like a spiritual sequel to something similar to Mega Man.
Yeah.
In the same vein of Mega Man.
It seemed like, okay, we've got, you've got Inafune. Mm-hmm. He created Mega Man. Give me more Mega Man. And it seems like, I don't know how involved he's been in the process, because Inti Creates has been doing crazy amounts of things. They're doing that. They're doing Red Ash as both a game and an anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a big enough studio to tackle all of that all at the same time.
Yeah.
But
speaking of studios not being big enough to tackle everything all the time, Scalebound by Platinum Games, who is making 5 games at this point?
I think so.
With a staff of less than 100.
Yeah.
They're making 5 separate games. So they've kicked back Scalebound to 2017. First delay of the year. Congratulations.
First delay of the year. Thankfully on a game that a lot of people... There hasn't been a lot of hype yet on Scalebound, in my opinion. It's on the radar for some hardcore people, but it's not... it's not one that in my opinion, that people were just going after and really wanting to dig into this year, really looking forward to this year. It's not like the hype level of Last Guardian or something else where we're like, no, we have to get it this year. Do not delay again. So as much as I hate, I don't like when games are delayed, but if they're delayed for the right reason, that's good. Like you said, they have 100 people in their team. Yeah, that's not, or company, I mean.
The other thing about it is, one of the things that they said is that they're still, they want to make sure the dynamic is correct, because there's a lot of games where you can have allies or companions or whatever. You have a dragon.
Yes.
And so, you've never had I've never played a game where I had a companion who was so OP that, and that's a danger, and that needs to be properly balanced. Because like fighting games are very important to get the balance right.
Yeah,
and if you can't do that, you've made a bad game.
Yeah, because for competitive reasons, if it's not balanced, everyone's going to go towards one instead of
And so I feel that it's kind of the same situation that they're looking at, where if they don't get that dynamic correct, whatever they do with the rest of the game doesn't even really matter. Because that has to be right, and that's the big thing for that game.
Yeah.
So if they need to, whatever time they need, and we don't know how far they were in development, but this isn't like something that they delayed a month before it was supposed to come out. At the beginning of the year, they said, "Hey, we're not going to be able to put this out this year. We'll get it to you."
I mean, it didn't have a definitive date or anything. They were shooting for this
2016. Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. And the one thing that I was surprised by this week is that Activision bought Major League Gaming. I was surprised by this for a couple reasons. I know that Dota 2 and all these MOBAs and everything, and there's a lot of money in this.
Yeah.
But what people aren't realizing is that the majority of the money is coming from sponsorship. Which means that the majority of your money isn't coming from profits. It's coming from companies hoping to profit at one point. Yeah. So you have a bunch of companies that are trying to get in on this on the ground level. Activision's kind of doing that as well. It's as if you had the NFL. If the majority of money for the NFL actually came from Nike, Under Armour, and a couple other companies, Reebok, a couple other companies, you would go, okay, this isn't doing well. If the fans aren't putting in as much money as Nike or any of these other companies.
Fun fact, do you know why NFL coaches don't look as classy as coaches in football across the pond?
No.
They have to wear Reebok branded apparel on the sidelines. They're not allowed to wear anything classy like suits. They have to wear Reebok attire.
I had no idea.
And if you watch, I don't know if anybody else watches the other football, soccer.
Yeah, soccer. Yeah.
But the European coaches, they look classy.
Yeah.
And I remember.
I thought it was just because Americans are slobs.
No,
I mean
they are.
If you look at American,
slobs.
If you look at American football, their coaches are slobs.
Yeah.
So I figure,
Yeah, this is natural, but no, that's.
Jeez, I had no idea.
It's because when I was growing up and cared about football.
Yeah.
Tom Landry was the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and this was before that. And he always came in a suit and tie, and he had his little little hat.
Yep.
And that classed the place up.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. But yeah, fun fact about football that you didn't think you were going to get on This Week in Our Collective Heads. We have lots of things up here.
Yeah, there are a lot of weird things in there.
It's not coincidence that I did this sign for lots of things.
Speaking of this, Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
Which is out. So modding is coming to computers for Binding of Isaac.
Yes. It's going to be called Afterbirth Plus, and it's going to be... You do have to buy it. It's a separate thing. But more importantly than that for me, they've said... It was toward the end of the post. It said the PS4, Xbox One version will be out, quote, by the end of next month. So by the end of February, I will get to play Greed Mode.
Sweet.
And that makes me happy. I'm running up against walls here. The last couple of bits for the platinum are just brutal.
You are insane to be tackling that. I can't believe you're doing that.
But see, I want to be able, there's a couple of gaming accomplishments that I'm really proud of.
Beating
this one is
like beating the original Mario, in my opinion. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's an accomplishment. Yeah. Beating Punch-Out. Beating Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Those are accomplishments.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see where you're like, okay, I have to do this.
And the other thing is like you asked me the other day, why are you I get that it's challenging and everything, but is this even fun for you?
Yeah.
And I was and yes, it is, because the game,
I think my
I've
question
played
was, how do you keep motivated?
Yes, how do you keep
that?
motivated? And the thing, and my response was, it's still fun.
Yeah.
Like it's frustrating, but like, okay, I've got something like 240 something deaths and however many victories or whatever, but like every game that I've played has been unique.
Yeah,
and I love
really
that.
Cool.
And that's and so every time that I beat the game, it's like I'm beating a version of the game I've never played before.
Yeah, I can see how that would keep it interesting. Rogue Legacy is very similar to that, where every time that I've played Rogue Legacy, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah,
the I don't know how to tackle it as soon when I start up the levels. So I can see that, as opposed to Bloodborne or another game where I'm like, okay, I know this is going to happen. Let me tackle this. You remember
there's a trap right here.
Yeah. Another thing I was really excited about. I think you're excited about Binding of Isaac. I'm really excited about this though. So the Rick and Morty Pokemon game.
Yes.
Which I'll admit I was late to the game on Rick and Morty, but I love this show. Absolutely,
Rick and Morty is so fun.
It is.
I've only watched the episodes that are on Hulu because I know that if it gets really, I gotta have more.
Yeah.
Then there's more. There's more waiting for me because they've said that they're not doing any new episodes for like another year and a half or something.
It's like Venture Brothers, where it's like it'll be out when it's out, and then
Venture Brothers. Also, the new season is coming out February. I don't have that information in front of me.
But Venture Brothers is coming out. Very excited.
Very soon.
Yeah. I'm a couple seasons behind on Venture Brothers, but it's a show that I love. I love it because I grew up watching Johnny Quest. And when Venture Brothers first came out, it was Johnny Quest for adults.
Yeah.
And now it's become so much more, and the world that they've built within that is just amazing. So I'm looking forward to it.
I had only watched I'd only watched it in syndication, which Adult Swim is pretty good about showing stuff sequentially, but at that point, this was forever ago. So Venture Brothers only had like 2 or 3 seasons.
It's not too hard to keep up with then.
Right, but I wasn't watching it every night. So I'd see like an episode, skip an episode, watch 2 episodes, skip 3 episodes, watch that. And so I just kind of sat back and went, all right, I guess this is what's happening.
I guess that happened.
Okay, so quick before we move on to the next topic. Favorite villain in Venture Brothers?
Baron von Unterbite.
Okay. All right.
I mean, other than the Monarch and Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, obviously. Other than them...
Spoilers.
What? Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
that's like, what, season 3?
I'm in season 3. Anyway.
I apologize.
It's fine. That is a really fun dynamic and everything.
Yes, I love it.
My favorite, he's not technically a villain, but Dr. Orpheus.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite, secondary character, because because everything is so dramatic, and I love that. That's fun. Watch Venture Brothers. It's on Hulu and presumably other places.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix as well.
Okay.
Yeah, check that out. So another thing that if you're go ahead.
Okay. Rick and Morty,
the
Pokemon game, is coming on the 14th of this month to mobile, iOS, and Android, and you're going to be pitting Mortys against Mortys. So have fun with that.
Yes.
All right.
Which is great. If you've watched the show, perfect. Makes sense. So Shenmue 3 was announced via Kickstarter last year. And was about August or so?
No, it was announced during Sony's E3.
During Sony's E3 that there was a Kickstarter.
And they started the Kick, and they were funded on Kickstarter, and you could donate via PayPal, and like there's a couple of other things, and then they had investors on top of that, and
so they've announced that, or I don't know if you want to call it announced, but basically, if you were a PayPal backer and not a Kickstarter backer, that you're not going to get the same exclusive rewards, right?
Right.
I think I understand why this is happening. I think it's because Kickstarter, the entire architecture is designed around, if you have pledged this amount, we can tie your account to this reward very easy.
And that's the thing that Kickstarter offers.
Yes.
Is connection of, you set up these tiers, we'll handle the back end.
Exactly. And I think the back end regarding PayPal, trying to go through all the money of that, and then figure out what it was. I think that was an oversight, but someone didn't think, how do we resolve the PayPal only transactions?
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Kickstarter via PayPal, but just PayPal only. How do you resolve, okay, this person paid this much. Which rewards do we give them? This is a lot more complicated than people think.
It is, but at the same time, when you're contributing, when you're donating to a project or whatever, it's on you, the person paying, to be aware of what you're getting and what you're not getting for what you're donating. Like there's a lot of people who have said, well, Oculus, we supported it via Kickstarter and then it got sold to Facebook and we never got any of that. And it's like, no, you weren't promised that either. They said, you pay this amount of money, this is the thing that you get. And you got the Mark II whatever of the Oculus.
Dev kit, basically.
Yeah, the dev kit.
Yeah.
And you got that if you were in that tier.
Yeah.
And for me, it's unfortunate, but I don't fault the company for having done it. It's
Speaking of Oculus, though.
Okay.
Oculus did have news.
Yes.
So Oculus, at the price point that I thought this was gonna hit, $600 price point. That's $600 for the unit, not including the controller. The controller's not going to be very much anyways.
No, it includes an Xbox One controller.
Xbox One controller, not the
touchy
things.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's
not even launching with the system.
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
So $600, which is a pretty high price point. I think there's a good amount of people who are going to want to get it for the prestige, for being able to do some amazing VR.
Yeah.
There are games. Well, yeah. Let's be honest. That's what the internet is for. So, I think that a lot of people are wanting their hands on it because it's so new. They want to be one of the first people to have it, not only maybe for collector's purposes, but also to be on the ground floor of this. Mm-hmm. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This version of Oculus Rift will not be profitable. I don't think that very many people will have this version.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great ground floor because, as we know, when it comes to electronics of any kind, a couple years down the line, you're going to get something better for cheaper. So you're going to take this version of it, make it better, cheaper. 5 years from now, we're going to have a better, cheaper version of it that more people will have. One thing that I did like, though, was that they said that so the backers on the Kickstarter version are going to get a Kickstarter edition of Oculus.
Right.
Yeah, which is cool. Say thank you.
Okay.
Here's this specific version, because those people previously, if you did it via the Kickstarter, you previously got a dev kit, right?
Right.
Yeah. So now you actually get a full working Oculus Rift, right?
Well, we don't have details on what the Kickstarter one is.
Okay. Well, it may be.
I suspect that it'll be something kind of in between.
Oh, okay. Or maybe a sticker to put on your dev kit.
Yes. Kickstarter, so that anybody that sees you, they put out the PC requirements for it. They're pretty hefty.
They are.
And so, you're going to need, to build the machine right around now. Like, if you were just starting from scratch and you were just buying the parts, building the system yourself, getting an operating system and all that, then it was going to be like a $1,200 system.
That's what I thought.
It's some top tier stuff, and that's, for me, why the no longer Morpheus version.
The Sony VR.
Yeah.
Yeah. PC may be... PC is better when it comes to graphics. I mean, it is because it's moddable. It is better hardware.
Moddable is the main thing for me, because the PC community is rabid about stuff like this. And because... I mean, it's PC.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to work on it, figure it out, and that's going to have the community of people who have the VR, who have the system, and are going through the official channels to do everything. But Reddit's going to get a hold of this, and there's going to be this separate thread, this separate community of what can we do with this, and tinkering, and that's really exciting to me. Like I do not have the system nor the money to have this particular VR.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be watching them.
Oh yeah.
Because some really interesting things are going to come out of that, and I can say that without having to quantify it in any way, because rabid communities are the best as far as coming up with crazy things and things that we didn't think were possible. Right now, VR there's amazing things that have been done with VR, but we don't yet know, and that's what you're talking about with the ground floor bit. We don't yet know what VR is capable of until these massive groups get a hold of it and just start tinkering. One thing that I think may get a second life, if you will, is games like Second Life, games where you create your own virtual life. It's a life simulator kind of thing. Be able to do that on virtual reality would be amazing. Yeah. Well, I know that they have one of the things that is officially licensed and everything is you can tour the Louvre. Yes. In virtual reality, and that to me is really interesting because that's a lot of time and money to get there. Not just like if you take the trip from here to the Louvre, the tour, and the flight home. Probably a better cost benefit analysis with. And that's the thing that's interesting to me is I will get to, via virtual reality, see places in the world that I would not have been able to see otherwise. And that's like the real things. It's amazing. It's a new frontier, and it'll be really interesting. And maybe one day we'll have holodeck kind of. This is a step on that road towards the holodeck, so I can be a detective. So one thing that it's slightly related to this, but did you see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer? Sequel to the sequel. The sequel. Okay. That looks so much more fun than the first. Like I didn't see the first one. The first one was garbage. I heard that. This one looks like they're saying, okay, you know what? We're gonna take what you liked it, how ridiculous the cartoon is, and that's the thing is it's supposed to be ridiculous. It's supposed to be kind of dumb and fun, and that's okay. And like it was taken so much into these are real, legitimate. You do not laugh at these turtles. You're supposed to laugh at the turtles, even though they snowboard down the mountain on a car door and so they're embracing the ridiculous. Bebop and Rocksteady are in it, and the rumor is that Krang will show up, which would be amazing if you get the Dimension X and all that. It'd be really cool. But related to video games, that there's a TMNT game unannounced that kind of leaked out. The Mutants in Manhattan. It's so leaked. We have screenshots. We have concept art. We have what was the other thing? And then this week, the achievements leaked. So, and this is another Platinum Games project. And just announce it, or don't, and just release it someday. But like it's just Turtles. Really weird. If you do the Turtles the right way, you're going to get money. The problem is that you haven't done Turtles the right way in a long time. I will say one thing. As soon as I saw the title, I think it was a completely deliberate action. Mutants in Manhattan. Turtles in Time, the alliteration in. Come on, I want a new Turtles in Time. I want a new Turtles in Time. I don't care if I have to stay in Manhattan. I want Turtles in Time in Manhattan without the time. That's fine. They're mutants. It's very cool. One other cool thing. So Failover Team, they're the same team, the hacker team. They're the same ones that did Pokemon. Correct? So the Failover team that did Pokemon on PS4 is now running. And they're also the ones that cracked. Yes, they have a fairly legit version of Linux running again through the browser. And they're also the team that cracked the PS2, 3, and Xbox 360. Like this is like the main console hacking team. It's interesting because I really appreciate this. They've said, hey, we'll show you what we've done, but we're not posting how to get into the system. If you can't figure out how to get into the hardware through the browser, it's not that hard. Come on, you can do it. And I appreciate that because if you leak all the information, some idiot is going to sit there and be like, tie. Oh.
Well, they
I
can,
broke it.
They also can legally say, hey, look what we did on our own PS4.
Yeah.
We're not distributing. We're not doing this in a way that takes money from Sony.
Yeah.
It's just saying, hey, look at the cool thing I did.
Yeah.
Because they're not telling you exactly how to do it, they can legally do it. So as opposed to that's the whole gray area that you came into with PS3 as well as the 360 hacks, when people were saying, all right, here's the instructions.
Step by step.
Yeah, that's when
Here's how you play pirated games.
and then you
Stop
get your video taken down, your website, whatever. Yeah. So that's illegal.
So, but the way these guys is doing it, the way that these guys are doing it,
yes,
is really cool. People who are not cool is people who took down PSN last Monday.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, it was down for like 10 hours.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and it was the group that threatened that they were going to take it down at Christmas.
Yeah.
It stayed up for the most part on Christmas, but it was down for about 10 hours, and I don't like those people. They're not nice.
They're not nice, and what really did they get out of it? They angered people who are also gamers. They angered people who are also. This is like, it doesn't matter, and I'm saying this, not saying this to do anything about politics, but if you're in a specific political side, you don't anger that political side.
Yeah.
If you are one who is a big gun rights activist, you don't create a big uproar and create a incident or anything that would make it worse for your group. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You're hurting your own people. So whatever analogy you want to use, I'm just trying to grab a random one.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what your political affiliation is, but you don't hurt your own. And what they're basically doing is they're saying, all right, we're going to make it worse for all of you. All those games that you play, you can't play them. Battlefront, can't play it. Many games that we play nowadays have an online component.
Rocket League.
I
like Rocket League.
I mean, there are games that nowadays that you can't play at all unless you have a connection to the internet.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but there are the games that I've been playing lately. I've been playing Battlefront a lot, and the first thing that I booted it up. I'm like, okay, something's wrong. I'm start checking every other connection. I'm checking my PS4.
Yep.
Everything's fine. Then I check, and see that there's no reason for it. It hurts. It doesn't only hurt you. It hurts everyone that is within your line of thinking. And that's my rant. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, their claim is kind of based off the anonymous one, is that security's not good enough. You need to do better security. Yeah, but DNS overloads and DDoS.
Yeah.
That's not a security thing. That's
well, what you do.
I'm not any less secure.
No.
Because Sony is less prepared for DDoS.
Correct. What Anonymous does, if you actually look into what Anonymous has been doing in regards to that kind of thing, not just what Fox and those guys and CNN, what they actually do is they'll go, there's a security problem here. Then they'll start notifying that company. Mm-hmm. Say, hey, you got a problem.
There's a process.
There's a process, and they'll say, hey, you really need to look at this, and then they don't, and they say, hey, you need to look at this, otherwise we will do this, which will show that you don't care. Uh-huh. And then they, at the same time, say, hey, we found this, we notified this group, and we will post it. They post that live to everyone as a warning to say to that company to say, hey, Sony, you've got a hole, you need to figure this out, or at least acknowledge that you're looking at it.
Yeah.
And if they don't, okay, now we start documenting it. But they won't take it down.
Right.
Not for that, at least. So,
I don't always agree with anonymous stuff. I appreciate the deliberate nature of how they do it, and that they have a point.
They do. So, they do. There's no point to this.
So yeah.
The one thing, completely different news that has a point and is
for
awesome.
Something completely
different. So Ubisoft basically said, now I've heard no. No Assassin's Creed in 2016 is what I've heard.
They have not said that.
They haven't said that, okay.
Yeah, Kotaku leaked this as, we've heard this from multiple sources, and obviously you like our podcast, but Split Screen has Jason Schreier, who Jason Schreier breaks all the news.
Yeah.
I love that guy on Kotaku, and Kotaku is also the one that that Ubisoft and Bethesda won't deal with anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, you keep reporting news on us, not the news we tell you to.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, and that's one of the reasons I love that
Freedom
site.
of the press.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this was something on this last week's split screen episode. Schreier was talking about how he said, I actually kind of heard this like a year or so ago whenever he leaked Syndicate before it was announced.
Okay.
He said at that point, that same source also said Egypt or maybe Rome.
Yeah.
And possibly skipping a year. And he was like, okay, that's interesting. That's a single source. But this past week they've come out a lot. Several other reliable sources and a couple of anonymous ones have come out and said, yeah, maybe not next year. Yeah. Which is really interesting because the Assassin's Creed movie is supposed to be next year.
Exactly. This year. Assassin's Creed is supposed to be this year, where currently they will have, I think it's 1 or 2 side-scrolly mobile games, but not
mobile.
Are they not mobile? Or
no,
Vita?
It's China and I mean it's coming everywhere. It's Ubisoft. They publish.
Okay,
everything.
I thought they were mobile handheldies.
No, they look like it, but it's not.
Don't do
that glare. I want a gif of that glare.
Okay, so
side-scrolly ones are coming out this month and next month.
This month and so to not have it when the Assassin's Creed movie is coming out, which hopefully is going to kind of break some molds when it actually be a profitable, a good. Assassin's Creed is one of the intellectual properties in regards to gaming that can carry over very well to movies.
Yeah.
BioShock would be another one that could translate.
Yeah.
And there are certain ones that don't translate well. When your plot is there's demons, shoot them. You're going to get a movie like Doom, and it's going to be bad.
Okay, so this movie gets a lot of hate. Speaking of Ubisoft and deserts and anyway, Prince of Persia. I like that. Okay, yeah.
I like Prince of Persia.
I like that movie too.
A lot of reasons. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Is wonderful.
Gemma Watson, whatever was not what. What's her name?
I don't know. Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley as yet another ethnicity.
Oh yeah, he can play anybody.
But yeah, Prince of Persia was fun, and like they managed to do the time travel backwards and stop the attack, and that was really fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't, and it wasn't necessarily terribly profitable, but I enjoyed it, and yeah. So yeah, and then the other piece of the rumor, which is, I guess, less substantiated than the others, it's that they could release Watch Dogs 2 in that gap.
Yes. Gemma Arterton. I've mispronounced that name. That's who that was.
Put a phonetic pronunciation right here, so that they can all laugh at you.
You can laugh at me. Interesting fact about her, which I knew about this already. I didn't look it up, but you can actually look it up. I did. She was born with 6 fingers.
On her right hand?
Both. Which
That's cool.
happens.
Yeah.
Removed at birth. Can't even see. But so there you go. Famous for being Quantum of Solace and all that. So, and Hansel and Gretel. If anybody watched that.
No, nobody did.
Hopefully, no one did. Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see what they do with kind of the Assassin's Creed IP this next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the idea because like they've been putting them out every year since 2.
I think since 3.
Okay. Well, there was one between 2 and 3. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like 2 in between.
It's been annualized for quite a while, and I like the idea of them backing off and saying, okay, what do we want to do here, and then moving forward from there. Because with any annualized franchise, you're not going to have time to react to a whole lot of lessons that you learned from the previous one.
I want Egypt. Russia could be cool.
Feudal Japan.
Feudal Japan.
That's the one that we've been asking for years, and I'll buy that one. I don't buy many Assassin's Creeds, but I'll buy one that lets me go and be all samurai and stuff.
Yeah, be beautiful. That'd be beautiful. Yeah. Speaking of buying stuff, Steam Wintery Sale Still a mystery. Maybe even just a joke. Maybe not a hoax, but maybe a gimmick.
Yeah, the weirdest part about it is, the whole thing's kind of weird. But the one of the more interesting things about it is everything led to a Steam achievement called Red Herring. So, does that mean that there was... Okay, I know Red Herring means it's supposed to be a misdirecting, whatever, but does that mean, haha, we made you chase this thing, or does this mean you're on the wrong track, go another direction? And that's the thing.
It could be.
So we'll if anything else happens with that, but that seems to be dead in the water.
Maybe that the achievement that has to be unlocked is that the active players on Steam have to have played more than 50% of their library. Because that will never happen.
That will never be solved.
50% of your games have to have at least been launched.
I'll tell you what. I can get that achievement.
Oh.
I have a game on Steam. It's gone home.
Okay.
It's coming to consoles, so I'm not going to play it. But
you could launch the game.
I could launch the game.
So if we all get together,
then I would have no Steam backlog.
I have maybe 75 or 80 games on Steam through Humble Bundles, through other things that
Humble Bundle. Okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
I forgot about those.
So, games that link to your Steam account. I also bought a couple things where I'm like, yes, I want all the Tomb Raider games. Yes, I want all the Command and Conquer games for $6. Yes, because at one point I may want to play those. Yeah. Hasn't happened yet, but when it does, it's there and I legally have it.
Also, something I heard about on Steam, and with any Steam game, we don't know if it's coming to consoles, but there's one I heard about. They talked about it last week on Beyond. It's called Cibele, Cibele. I had not heard about it. They were all really excited about it. Really? As it's one of those things, like it's a fairly short game. Mm-hmm. I played through the whole thing in a couple hours, but really intellectually stimulating.
Interesting.
And that's all I know about it. That's all I want to know about it.
Yeah.
I might play it. It's like, I think $15 or something.
That's not bad.
And so, and that's there's we'll have a discussion at some point about how we as gamers are like, $15 is too much for things. $15 seems to be when the rage starts. The irrational rage of, I'm not paying $15 for this entertainment.
Yeah.
If I go to, like, because I go to Studio Movie Grill or Alamo Drafthouse.
Yeah.
That's where I go see movies. Yeah. So for Courtney and I to go see a movie costs about 40
I would say it's $20 plus food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's usually about $40 for however many hours of entertainment. Yeah. I consistently get more than that out of any game I buy. I mean, Journey, those first 2 hours that I played through it were absolutely worth the $15. And being able to show that game to other people, I'm sorry if I'm boring you.
No, you're not.
No, if being able to show that game to other people and be like, look at what games can be. Look at how simplistic, pretty, and moving games can be.
And emotional.
Yeah.
These things, I think people who do not play a good amount of video games, they think of games as one of two things. Either they're things that kids play, and it's stupid.
Right.
Or it's ultra-violent shooty games.
Right.
And there are those categories.
Yes, those.
And there's a lot in between.
Yeah.
But games can be amazing. Games can be beautiful. That's why, obviously, if you're listening to this or watching this, you know that. And it takes a game like Journey to do that for people.
Yeah. And I really, my favorite games lately have been games that can't be defined in a sentence or two why I want to play them. Because like I can tell you that I'm looking forward to the Binding of Isaac. It's really hard for me to say why I'm excited about Binding of Isaac, because it's going to kill me so many times. And I'm excited about Dark Souls 3. It's going to kill me so many times.
Yeah.
And like you talk about, what is your motivation? I'm like,
Well,
I'm enjoying this.
Well, I mean, I died a ridiculous amount of times when I played the Souls games, when I played Bloodborne, but the atmosphere, the story, the mystery, the intrigue, pulled me and made me want to be better at the game in order to get further. That's what I meant by, like, how are you motivated? That's how I was motivated to go through Bloodborne. I wanted to get through I wanted to get through the mysteries. I wanted to figure out what's actually going on. I wanted to see the next actual boss. Those things are weird.
Yeah, they are.
Out of a strange fever dream that just, I don't know. Yeah. Some sick stuff, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, games are amazing. Speaking of games are amazing, Rise of the Tomb Raider, if you haven't played it, is amazing. Did get IGN's pick for top Xbox One, Xbox exclusive, whatever they want to call it, Xbox Game of the Year.
Yeah,
is what they called it. So basically saying, hey, for Xbox, here's your top game. It wasn't the game of the year for
each of the awards were exclusive. So that makes sense.
So Rise of the Tomb Raider won. That means it beat out Halo. Let's take a moment to think about that. Rise of the Tomb Raider beat out Halo. And you look at the numbers on that. Halo sold easily, I think it was 10 times as much, if not more. I'm thinking of the numbers off the top of my head. I believe it's at least that. Than Tomb Raider. And Tomb Raider was considered to be a better game, proving that it doesn't matter how much money it made, this is a better game. The story, the graphics, the realism. I think a couple people that I've talked to, Chris has mentioned this as well. The snow and ice,
the snow crunch.
The crunch is spot on. If you've ever walked through frozen snow, not what we get here in Texas, but meaning, okay, you've gotten 3 or so feet of snow on the ground. That's not going anywhere, and then it freezes over the next night.
Yep.
That kind of snow, or it's freezed over the past couple weeks because it's just not melting. We don't get that here. We get a little ice.
When the snow comes down, we run out and play in it because it's going away, and we don't know when we'll see it again.
You create a snowman before the snowman could melt, and you take a picture of it as it's melting.
Okay, you might live in Texas if you've ever used snow from multiple yards to build one snowman that year. Oh, I've done that. Where you go out into the street and this is relatively clean snow, pack.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like
I'm not joking. Up north, it's like, okay, the half of the front yard can make a very big snowman. Yeah. Maybe a quarter of the yard, and then you start building.
Where Calvin lived. Because he makes some amazing stuff with snow.
Well, one year we got I think it's 3.5 feet or so of snow, and I made a under snow tunnel, which I thought would be really cool because you can go in there, and it was way too cold for me to do it, but I made it, and it was. When you're a kid, it seems like really big, but it was probably all of 20 square feet.
Yeah.
But it was a tunnel that you'd have to go under because it's 3.5 feet high, so it was about half of that. You had to be a little kid and shimmy through it. But you could do that.
Yeah.
You could build houses.
Cool.
You could build houses out of snow. Igloos. We built igloos out of snow.
Yep.
And that was just my yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is that. Whitney was telling me that like the side missions are a lot more fun because that's one of the things I'm still starting in The Witcher, but like there's a quest everywhere.
Yeah.
This flower has a quest. That fence post has a quest. That cow is a quest.
Yep.
Everything's
a quest. Yeah.
Blankety blank blank quest.
Welcome to Skyrim.
Yeah.
Every single person not every single person.
Yeah. And I can appreciate that, but what she said is that the side missions are interesting.
Yeah. Well,
and you want to pursue them.
Some of the side missions, and by side missions, she's like, oh, this is an optional thing, this is an optional thing. She's going through a temple. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, this is just an optional temple.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
or an optional section of the temple, or it's...
I love games that reward you for going off the beaten path, and Rise of the Tomb Raider is clearly one of those.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to playing that one.
So, on to other news. So we can just keep going.
The actual news from that. It's coming to PC January 28th, which is the actual headline, which is what we started before we were talking about snow tunnels.
So much things.
And why we don't get
so many things.
We're excited to read about actual news.
We are. We love it.
We're used to. I think we've gotten used to like filling time, like finding a topic, and then just going off on a tangent because we got to do that when there were 4 headlines a week.
So Microsoft announced that Halo 5, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Forza Motorsports 3, and Gears of War Ultimate Edition sold over 1 million units. And I thought I said Forza Motorsports. Yeah. So
you probably did.
All those sold over 1 million units. Those are all Microsoft exclusives. Yay for Microsoft. And I'd like to point out every single one of these, well, except for Rise of the Tomb Raider to a lesser extent, have a big built-in audience. I personally think Rise of the Tomb Raider should have a bigger audience because the Tomb Raider IP goes back so long.
Yeah.
And their reboot of Tomb Raider has been so good. As we've been ranting about this, Halo has a huge built-in audience. You announce a new Halo game, it's going to sell a lot. Forza, you have the hardcore racer guys who want, racer girls, whatever, racer indiscriminates, who want to spec out their car in this very specific way. It has a very niche market, in my opinion. But
it's a very big deal to a very small group of people.
Exactly. So you're going to buy it with that. Gears of War. The lesser extent than Halo, but Gears of War has a huge following to it. Anytime you launch a Gears of War game, it's going to sell as well.
Yeah.
So essentially what they said was, our biggest games sold money. Our biggest games made the money. What, so?
Well, I mean, like right now they're not releasing sales figures.
Yeah.
And so this is a way to, without going too far into it, say, we sold bunches of things. Thanks. You're part of many peoples that play the games that we make.
Yep.
I do think it's interesting. They said that each of them sold over 1 million units. I want to know numbers. I want to know how well Tomb Raider sold.
Yeah.
Because
we were discussing that Tomb Raider was not doing as well as any of the others, but it still sold over 1 million units.
Yeah.
Where Halo 5 Guardians, I want to say sold. That was not as close to, but people were talking about that getting close to the Grand Theft Auto 5 levels of sales, if I'm not mistaken.
For Halo 5?
I thought so.
No. Because GTA 5 has sold like 50 million?
Yeah. I thought it was...
Halo 5
maybe it was
only
how quick,
on Xbox One.
Maybe it was how quickly it sold, is what it was.
Okay. Well, while he's researching that, I wish they'd give us numbers.
My apologies. It was not that. I'm thinking of another game, and I apologize. I retract my statement because I'm a professional journalist.
Final Fantasy IX that we talked about last week, that's going to be on phones and stuff, is going to feature kind of a story mode, like with the Final Fantasy VII re-release has a "Do you really want to fight stuff?" mode, which I think is kind of cool.
The Final Fantasy VII.
The Final Fantasy VII re-release.
Oh, the one that was on PS4?
Right, the one that is on PS4.
Okay.
Has a, do you want to fight? And you can skip all the random battles. And just run around in the world.
Level?
I don't know.
I mean, I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to do it because of the story.
Do it, see if it works.
Because of the story. I mean, the story is so great, but to be able to experience the story again and not have to grind would be really cool.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because the stories are the biggest thing that they do in those games.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that this could open up the story of 9, which was really interesting because you've got...
Which I didn't get into, so maybe it'll get me into it.
It has a very atypical hierarchy. The Steiner and... Is it Steiner? Steimer? I don't know.
Steiner?
No, Christine Steimer.
Oh.
I don't know. Anyway, the characters in there, like, they start off... You've got the big burly, grr, I'm a swordsman. You've got the princess and the overbearing mother. But like as the story develops, you find out why they're not stereotypical. And I really appreciated that. And the character development in that game and the sacrifices made by some of the characters in that game are really interesting. I encourage anyone who hasn't played 9, check it out. And, you know, if you can go through the game without combat, you can get to Chocobo Hot and Cold so fast. So fast.
If you're going through without combat, without the random encounters, that means you're still going to encounter the bosses.
Yes.
To me, random encounters always allowed me to not only level up but realize what my
figure
options
out
were.
how
do I strategize?
Works.
Yeah. So how do you do that when?
Well, the other thing about it is bit deeper into the weeds. Here we go. Come with us. Final Fantasy IX has a system where each piece of equipment you wear can teach you new passive or active abilities. And so if you're doing that without random encounters, you're not going to get, you know, the HP plus 5%, the HP plus 10%, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works.
Well, like with 7, without doing random encounters, you can't grind out materia.
Yeah,
you can't level up your materia.
So
that's like doing 8 without drawing.
But if they figured out a way to do it,
yeah,
that would be awesome.
It would be cool.
So I kind of want to buy.
I'll probably buy 7 and do this.
Okay, I'll buy 9 and do it.
Okay.
Right. So that's how we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know how that works.
Yeah.
Because if it's something that allows the story and the wonderfulness that are these beloved games, and it takes out the thing that was turning people off to it, and more people are able to experience it, that's good. And we don't compliment Square Enix often, but if they've managed to open this up to a new audience, that would be an impressive accomplishment. That's what they should be talking about.
Yeah, I agree. So. What everyone should be talking about right now, though, is that Psychonauts 2 has been fully funded. I texted John about this when it was announced, and they were like, "Hey, we're working on this. We've got a Kickstarter."
Yeah.
And his response was, if I'm not mistaken, it was something to the effect of, "Don't mess with me. Do not mess with, like, don't even joke. Don't toy with my emotions."
Yeah.
And I had to clarify, I sent him a link. Psychonauts is one of my favorite Schafer games. Like, it's beautiful. And I say that because I love Grim Fandango and I love so many of these games. But Psychonauts has such a great... it's a great world. It's quirky, but also just the idea behind the mechanics of what you're doing, and to go into someone else's mind, and to have to go into... I can't imagine what that would be like. Just to, you know, even the people that I'm closest to, well, what's rattling around in their head? I mean, you have everything, and it doesn't do it in a way, in too dark of a way. It's dark enough, but it's not too dark enough to be like, okay, here's what's really underlying in the subconscious of this person that they don't even know is happening. It doesn't go that bad, but you have this interesting psyche thing.
It explores,
Yeah, it's a little interesting thing about, like, the psyche of this person and how they view the world. It's really cool.
My favorite is when, and this is just in general, but I love when they open a door, but they don't kick you in and shut it behind you. It's just like, hey, here's an idea. We thought this was interesting.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the restraint.
Yeah.
Because Psychonauts is psycho. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But they still showed enough restraint to not push you into it's because of your mother. and
it's
that level.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it too.
Cool psychic stuff, and I hope that they improve on the psychic capabilities that you do in the first one, and improve on the worlds that you go into because of the psychic capabilities. So
they're gonna, like, it was interesting visually when it was originally released.
Oh yeah.
But the new one, I'm looking forward to seeing how pretty and everything that gets.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Good stuff. And then we also had, so the people who were trying to crack Just Cause 3, as PC games tend to be cracked at one point, the team that was cracking Just Cause 3 basically has given up.
They have said that they were very close to giving up, and
Oh, okay. I thought they did give up.
they basically the post said that they kind of gave up, and then they went, we gotta finish this. We've almost got it.
Yeah.
And so De Nouveau is the new anti-piracy PC thing, and one of the things that I think it was Peter Moore said was that he said that some of the people who have been exclusively releasing on console are looking, because of this new technology, at PC as a viable place to put out their game.
Yeah.
And that's cool to me. Like I'm not gonna get on a huge piracy rant, but like I used to pirate.
Yeah.
Everything?
Everything.
Yes, I used to pirate everything.
A lot of people did.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
And I reached a point where I was like, you know what? If I want this industry to continue,
Yeah.
I need to support the devs, and that was the thing. And so one of the statements by like one of the head of it's 3D somebody or 3GM, 3GM is the group that's working on it. And one of the statements that he said is that he bemoaned the fact that in 2 years there will be no more free games. No, that's not what it is.
No.
It's that this is shifting, and like pirates will eventually get into everything.
Yes.
But if they can reach the point where it's easier to buy the game than it is to pirate it, that's the goal. Because
Yes.
there have been some disastrous attempts at digital rights management.
Yes.
Like SimCity and what's the other one that launched at that time? Diablo 3.
Yeah.
When they launched, were more problematic for people that paid for
Yes.
it than people that didn't. That's not okay. And this is progress into making a game viable and profitable for people who put long hours. I said I wasn't going to rant.
Long hours, millions and millions of dollars. The console one, you hit it right on the head. You're saying for it to be easier for you to buy the game than to pirate it.
Yeah.
Right now, depending on the PC game, it can be easy as cake to download a pirated game and install a pirated game. For a console, completely different story. Right now, the Xbox One and PS4, at least for the public, has not been cracked.
Yeah.
Xbox 360 and PS3 were both cracked in their time, well before the 2-year mark, which we're at on these. So.
Right.
I think we're in a new frontier where you're not going to get as many pirated games. It's not going to be as easy. Piracy is still going to be there.
Yeah.
It's just about making it so that way the people who want the convenience will just they'll just pay for it.
Yeah. Brief aside on the whole piracy thing. BBC, let me give you money. the Sherlock Christmas special was up. They don't let Americans have it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have cable anymore, which I'm really excited about. But so like my options online were I can convince BBC that I'm British, which didn't work with the Chromecast. I can buy it on Amazon in a week.
Yes.
No, it's going to be spoiled by then. I have this limited window in which I can step away from the internet and go, no, don't show me. Don't show me.
Yeah.
But eventually that's going to be there. And it's easier and makes more sense to pirate that stuff.
Yeah.
And every time I do, I tell them, please let me give you money.
Yeah.
I have these dollars. I want to give them to you for a thing.
Yes.
Please let me do that. And that's something that games hasn't really dealt with as much. But like the DRM,
they dealt with it in regards to regioning. But at that point, it's usually older games, and if it's a newer game, it's easier for someone to import a region like a PAL region player than it is for someone to try to crack games and everything. So. Yeah. You have it to an extent, but not the same extent.
Yeah.
Speaking of hardware of games, the NX is analysts are saying is going to be announced this year. Again, we said it here. This year, it's going to happen. So, again, this is just more people, it says analysts are saying that. Again, more people speculating, looking at the numbers that for Nintendo, looking at how Nintendo is doing financially, as well as what Nintendo's been investing in.
And what they're saying and what they're not saying.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of indications.
Yeah.
The production also on NX is kicking off.
Yep.
And I went through our predictions the other day, and we have October and November.
Yep. Because I had October, you had November, right?
In this article, they said October or November.
So we'll see who's right.
Which we said
well before this.
Way back then.
And I said October, you said November, right?
I don't know.
Somewhere
It's in the notes.
It's in the notes.
I don't remember things.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm really, really excited about this. I absolutely love my Wii U, but I'm very excited about this for Nintendo, for Nintendo's future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also I'm a lot more excited about this than I was about the Wii U, because it seems like in the last, I don't know, year and a half, that Nintendo itself has changed, and that was happening before Iwata passed.
Yes.
But the Nintendo account stuff, and the fact that they're kind of opening to more ideas.
Yeah.
They still have NX needs to be region free. Everybody else is just let us play the game and let us give you money.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We have monies.
Yeah.
We want to give them to you. Why did Yoshi's Woolly World come out in September in Europe?
Yeah.
And then come out here in December?
Yeah.
It's in English.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
So
and don't give me that. Oh, it's British English versus American English. Don't even.
They
give
spelled
me that.
armor differently.
Don't even give me that. We're smart enough to understand the difference. We know that that's armor. We know that that's color. We know that that's through. It's not like you're. Come on.
So I'm really excited about that, and we'll see what that does.
Very excited.
And then the last one I had was Mindshare. I had a friend who got a. And this is interesting, and I think it'll be interesting because I figure if you're watching this, you're pretty into games. I mean, if you're willing to sit here and listen to us ramble
for an hour,
But okay, so he's been wanting an Xbox One for a while. I was really excited. I'm like, yeah, go get that Xbox One and have fun with all the games and stuff. And so he got it for Christmas and asked, okay, cool. What games do you have for it? And he goes, well, I don't have any games yet. I'm thinking I want a PS4. And I was like, okay, what's coming out on PS4 that you want to play? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I was like, and it was a really interesting look for me into the whole Mindshare concept.
Yeah.
Is like, he has an Xbox One. Yeah. Most of the games are cross-platform, and they're coming to both. Like there's some exclusives. And you can kind of target whoever you want with it right now. But another feature I'm thinking about doing is what console should I get? I'm gonna do that conversation at some point. Because that's a way more complicated question than I thought at first. Because I was actually asked the question and I was like,
there's a lot to this.
Sit down. We need to talk. But anyway, so he got an Xbox One. Yeah. Doesn't have any games, and was like, I kind of want a PS4 now. And that was really interesting to me because, and when I asked him about it, he didn't know why he wanted a PS4. He just knew he wanted a PS4. Yeah. Congratulations, Sony. You like, and that was really interesting to me. So I thought I'd share that story because most of the people I talk to are either gamers or not. Yeah. And there is this whole video games category, which is, I mean, statistically probably the largest group.
They are the larger group, yeah.
And it was really interesting to me to see.
You have to sway them with the Mindshare. To say, well, this is the one you want. No, this is the one you want. Because the hardcore guys are going to decide. Yeah. I decided which one I was going to get first a year before the consoles came out. I'd pretty much decided on it.
Yeah.
At that point, I already knew, okay, I'm eventually going to get the other one, but I decided on which one I wanted first, and then that was solidified throughout that year.
Yeah.
But most people, it's like maybe a couple weeks, oh, wait, those are both coming out. What do I want? I don't know.
Yeah.
Then you start looking at games. Something has to sway you from one to the other. So
Yeah. Well, the most interesting thing to me about it was that he didn't know why.
yeah.
Like he didn't.
He wasn't saying,
I analyzed
well,
the
this is
crap
coming
out of this stuff.
Well, this is coming out. Oh,
Yeah.
it's because of this hardware.
Right. And
Yeah.
and like the biggest game last year for PS4, the biggest exclusive anyway, Bloodborne. That is not for most people. That is definitely not for him. I will not recommend that to the majority of people because it will kick your butt.
It's brutal.
And make you like it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was really interesting to me to see just kind of where that went and how that is perceived.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Interesting. Cool. Well, I think that's about it for the news this week. But if there's something we missed, let us know and let us know what are you playing? What'd you get for Christmas?
Are you playing Amplitude?
Yes.
Amplitude's out.
You could be. Let us know in the comments. We'll see you later. Have a good one.
You're a professional?
Yeah.
Are you getting paid for this?
I'm not even wearing pants.
Next topic.